Very warm and good morning to everybody. Just let me wait 30 seconds for participants, registered participants to join. Please bear with us. Okay, good morning, everybody, and a warm welcome to the latest Institute of Financial Accountants 60-minute webinar series. For those of you who've joined an Institute webinar before, you'll know that we run a number of international and UK webinars. It's delighted to be hosting this morning a webinar that our speaker is joining us from Pakistan. For those of you who are not familiar with the Institute of Financial Accountants, the Institute are an internationally recognized professional accountancy membership body. As an organization, we have over 46,000 members across 80 countries around the world. We support accountants and accounting students, both in the private sector, within practice, and some members who join us for these webinars within the public sector as well. From a technology point of view, and maybe from a housekeeping point of view, this is a Zoom webinar. I can't deal with raised hands, but what I can deal with is your questions, your queries, your observations, your experiences in either the Q&A or the chat facility. So please, these sessions come to life when you post your comments, your views, etc. within those two boxes. I will deal with those for and on behalf of our speaker this morning, so she can concentrate on her talk. I'll deal with the comments, the questions, the experiences, and anything like that. If there are any technical issues, please bear with us. We will look to resolve those as quickly as possible, but I have learned from experience that it might actually be the internet, the Wi-Fi, the connectivity at your end. So please check that out first. But we very much look forward to the next 55 minutes, and we welcome everybody once again this morning. This morning's talk is, and it's a very warm welcome to Farah Mahboob. Farah, thank you very much indeed for joining us. It's a pleasure that we have you speaking this morning, and we're very grateful for your time and your effort. The talk is titled, the talk is actually all about opportunities and pitfalls around artificial intelligence. I think we will all agree that wherever we are in the world, technology is advancing at a rapid pace. That will continue, and it will continue now, tomorrow, and long into the future. So I think artificial intelligence, AI, is a very hot topic. So Farah, thank you very much indeed for speaking this morning. I do see as I'm speaking that Abdul Shakur, the Institute's Regional Director for Pakistan, has joined us. So Abdul, good morning. I'm going to hand over to Farah now to start her presentation. Abdul, if you would like to just sort of say a few words, please do so before Farah starts. But a very warm welcome to Farah, to everybody. Abdul, I'll hand the floor to you.
Yes, thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you. Actually, there was a technical issue. I'm a bit late. So thank you very much, Farah, for your valuable time. And this is very hard topic, as Jonathan said. And we are hopeful that we will be learning a lot. And I will not be introducing yourself. I would like to request you to introduce yourself and go ahead, please, without further any delay.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for being here. And as Jonathan and Abdul Shakur correctly said, AI is something that we just can't ignore anymore. So I just thought of putting up the good and the bad together. I think that's fair enough as a practitioner to let people know how much and when to be concerned about AI and what are the good things about AI. Starting with my introduction, I'm Farah Mehboob. I have been in AI for about 14 years now, and started as a teacher, but eventually I have picked up the role of a CEO recently. I have my own tiny startup based on AI, which does digital profiling. Apart from that, I have been a performance measurement analyst at Affinity, which is I think it's famous in the UK as much as in Pakistan because it has its branches there. I feel very excited to tell people that I have I'm an RWRI alumni, which is Naseem Talib's course on real world's risk. And apart from that, I write, I teach, I enjoy talking about AI, and that's the long and short about me. What do I do? Like a CEO is best known by their startup, I'd say. So this is what we do. You can see our startups uh, picture, and we are currently on LinkedIn for HR professionals. We're letting them know the credibility of the profile or the professionalism of the profile that they're about to consider for hiring. So that's an automation AI to tell people if they're going to be pointing out if they're going to be hiring the person they want, or with there's a heads up. uh, that's what we do. And if I run my validate browse on the browser, this is the kind of results you get. You get some score on completion of profile. You get to see what kind of things to talk about. So that's AI at work. And as I move on, I'll be showing you a couple of other um, tools that are using AI to let you know how much AI we're using. So I know people are joining me from all over the world, but only in Pakistan, if you look at it, looks like a small country, but it's the fifth largest population and majorly of young people. So it's easy to acquire digital gadgets and understand how to work on the internet, which is why AI is a very promising field for people in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh thought, and it's fastly growing. People are fastly adapting to AI and technology based on AI. So knowing about AI right now is going to benefit. It's needed. It's beneficial. Back in the years when I was studying AI, it was optional. It was people would call us hobbyists. So it's no more a hobby, I'd say. So no, AI is not a new phenomenon. AI has been there. Even Plato has been discussing the possibility of automating things that can be automated. But now we have the software, compatible hardware, and with the cloud and all the multiprocessors simultaneously working, and a lot of people working together. So that is why AI is practically doable now, not because it's a new idea, but because now it's a possible idea. So where is AI? It's everywhere. And I'll tell you something very funny. When Google first came, Google that we call a search engine now, and they call themselves cutting edge AI. So AI is continually evolving. And this cutting edge AI, Google, my students now make FYPs on those APIs of page ranking. So AI is something that starts as very exciting and new, but then it becomes a routine and new things take over under the definition of AI, and it keeps on evolving. But currently, AI is taking place in banking, the finance institutes, real estate, transportation, healthcare, e-commerce, travel, etc. It's like everywhere. Now I just jumped into what is AI, how cool AI is, but I'm going to take a step back and also put my teacher's hat on and tell you what is AI. So bear with me for a few more slides where I'll just explain you when we say AI, when we say artificial intelligence, broadly speaking, what can it be? So one of the branch of AI is classification. So you just put things in the classes and then train the model automatically to guess the new incoming object to be of a certain class. That is called classification. Then we have another branch which is called clustering. So clustering is not basically understanding the class, but clustering is putting the things that look alike together, this grouping, and it is based on distances. So I'll just take a pause from my sharing of slide, and I'll share a little demo over here. If I do that. Hmm. Right. So yeah, I think I should move to one more slide and then go towards demo. Right. So how do you use classification in real life in your risk analysis? Now you don't, if you are in accountancy and in the bank, you don't know if the person is going to default, he's going to run away with the loan. You don't know, that person is never going to tell you, so you can't put him in a class. But you can look at the behavior, and in your past data you can see how many people with this behavior were honest in filling up the form and paying back the loan. So that's how you compare in classification and make your decisions. And then there's a third type of AI, the branch of AI called reinforcement learning. So what you see on the screen is that there's a person who's asking an agent to do an action. Over here, you can see it as a dog. This dog is your computer. So you give a task to a computer, and computer goes and does it. So there's an agent, which is an automatic robot, software or hardware. There's an environment where it operates and it knows about the parameters of that environment. And then there's a goal. So all it has to do is to reach the goal itself. If it does it right, it gets positive points. If it does it wrong, makes mistakes, or don't reach the goal at all, it gets negative points. And then you can reinforce the learning by giving more good points and some bonuses for good points, like a bone, etc. So this is our reinforcement learning branch. Then, so up till now, I've been telling you things which require data, but in real life, you don't always have data. If you don't have data, then there's a branch of AI called Bayesian networks based on probabilistic reasoning. Now, this is where people like you are very, very critical, because it's based on domains knowledge, and we need domain experts to give the input. So what you see on the screen is a domain of checking if the temperature of cold water outlet with certain parameters that affect it. There's no data, but we know the domain and the variables and the way they're acting on each other. So we can simply do some predictions based on what the experts have observed and modeled. So I'm going to show you its demo now. Yeah. Why do I keep losing the demo? Oh. Okay. Yes, I have it with me. So what I just showed you about probabilistic reasoning, I'd like to, show you how it works. Here it is. It's the same model. So you see, if you have to predict the temperature of a cold water outlet temperature in a setup where the temperature is affected by specific heat, air, and supply or discharge of air, or the temperature of the water inlet and the water flow rate, etc., etc. What you do is you just need to partially observe things and see if you can predict something about this water template. Now, let's say I know it is summer. Just notice when I click on this summer, the whole screen will update. All the data over here on these panels will update. You can also observe these numbers and see how they will update. So I'm clicking on summer, and I just want you to just keep your eyes on one of these frames and see how the probabilities update. So here is summer. I set evidence that I know it is summer. I don't know anything else, but at least I know it's summer. And the moment I said summer, you see this changed. This is hottest. The chances that the perceived temperature is 65.5, 67.5 is because it's summer. If I remove this evidence, if I clear the evidence, the 67.5 will change back to something else. Let me do that and show you. See, now it's 29.5. So I am predicting a lot of things by just telling one thing. I observe it to be summer. Now, if it is summer and it's an early morning time, let's say, so no, it's not hot, it is cold, because for some reason I put ice in the water or do something unusual. Now the whole data changes again. Now we have numbers. And with those numbers, if I start observing things that I can and start putting evidence over there, everything that I do is changing the possibility that the water temperature will be this. Now, I did not use any data over here. These things were filled in by some expert, like probably this is engineering, but probably in AI, that would be a person, in accounts, that would be a person like yourself doing this. So now I'd just like to go back and share my screen, continuing to our very popular branch of data science, which is machine learning, also called deep learning. So this is our last major branch of artificial intelligence. What it does is it just gives a pattern, and it does not care the math underneath the hood. It says, this is the input and this is the output I need, and you do it. So the computer goes, and because there are certain algorithms and certain variables structured in a way in deep learning models, it starts matching the pattern. Now that is what happens when you're asked to spot all the bridges before entering your Gmail account. Those are the pattern matching things that a computer does, and I think they make us do it to see if we are still smarter than computers or not. A little joke how things go wrong. So if there's a resemblance with your pattern, it will not be able to detect that. And actually our automatic vehicles are running on this technology. So all the accidents that, if you go back in history and see the accidents that took place in the automatic vehicles, they were mostly because the pattern was similar, and it was mistaken to be something else, like a cloud mistaken to be a billboard, or a billboard mistaken to be a cloud, and something like that. So this is where the nuisance actually kicks in. You can look at the slide, and you see, if I ask you to detect which one of these frames have pups and which one have chocolate chip cookies, you can easily do that. A computer cannot, because a computer is not trained to differentiate, at least as of now. But as I just told you, maybe as I'm speaking, they've figured out how to fix this. But these are the kind of things where you see cracks in the system, and it's pretty okay. There's nothing wrong in those cracks. So let me again go to the share, and I hope I don't get lost this time. Quickly, I go to the share and show you something. Yeah, this is what I want to show. So neural network, I just told you, is about pattern matching. So if I just this is, let's say, a neural network, and this is the pattern that needs to be matched. So if I just regenerate it, what it will do is play it. Yeah, if I play it, just look at how quickly it matched the pattern, and it can detect the blue out of red very quickly. And this is the power of pattern matching, and things do go wrong, but then things are also very impressive. I show you a more complicated one. Check this one out. This is complicated because red data points are overlapping blue data points. So let's see if this deep learning or machine learning system can learn this pattern. So I play it again, and it's finding it difficult how to differentiate red and a blue, but then you see it has started to converge over here. The blue, this is the blue that it is converging, and it's trying to separate red and blue from each other. This is taking longer because this is a complicated pattern. I can promise you in the end it does converge. But for now, I'll just stop it here. And I'd like to show you one more demonstration. It might, we might say that AI is still naive and trivial, but we cannot underestimate the fact that putting it all together with so many people connected to the internet all over the world, working together on the hardware front, on the software of AI, and everything in between, the data sets and error correction and accuracy optimization. No, the AI is not naive. In fact, my third demonstration is very interesting. It is called GPT-3. It's a GPT-2. It is an interesting model where you start writing something and AI finishes it for you. I mean, until now your soulmate was doing it for you, but now AI can finish your sentences. So I'll just try, write some, try one of the, no, I want to write something on my own, right? So today, scientists confirm the worst possible outcome. The massive asteroid will collide with Earth. And then it's saying, okay, why don't you complete it with this? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to write, I'm excited about the IFA Institute. And let's see what it trigger autocomplete. So I'm saying you finish it for me, which is funded by International Atomic Energy Agency. That's what the AI thinks I should write. To support the work I've done with the University of Texas. I've never been to University of Texas, by the way, which has a long history of providing grants to the something. So see, the AI is telling me if you're excited about an institute, these are the things that you can continue writing about. And this is basically where you see your brain and AI brain working together. And also, this is a door open to augmented reality. So these are the exciting things about AI. Now we see AI in the bigger picture and revisit. So what AI is covering right now in the world is almost everything, because anything that technology and especially automated technology is not covering, that is actually getting obsolete day by day. And all the jobs, we're not short of jobs, we're short of people, but the jobs are also opening more towards the side of AI, in favor of AI. So in core technologies, we have AI, deep learning, machine learning, natural language processing, predictive APIs, image recognition, and speech recognition. Now, these are the things that, you know what speech recognition is. You've used Siri. You know what is image recognition is. It's automated cars are using it all the time. And then you see in finance, IFA's specialty, there are companies that are actually trendsetters in AI, and they are actually moving the game forward very, very actively in AI. And I don't know, it's an iffy buddy thing to say, but some days we think cryptocurrency will take over fiat currency, some days we think it will not. But that's how every new technology comes in, with a lot of speculation and some failures, and some failures which are public, you can't even hide. So we don't know how quickly we can move to metaverse, or how quickly we can move to cryptocurrency. But for people in finance, they need to be aware of it, and they can't ignore the fact that there is a new kid on the block, and you need to understand how it operates. So I'm a teacher, and when we went into lockdown in COVID, I thought that this is a great work, great opportunity for me as a teacher to see how much of my work can be automated. In other words, how quickly I can lose my job. So what happened when we were teaching online? There was AI, which was perfect, starting on time, marking everything correctly. But then when it started to interact with humans, there were kids who did not want to study, and they did so many innovative things to dodge the AI, dodge the technology, and it worked well. I can testify that. So sometimes AI also gets a shock, a surprise, when humans don't behave the way they should behave while interacting with AI. And this is the defining point, and this is the, if AI wins or humans win. And I think the winners are, the winning will be mutual in the coming days. Uh, only the AI that works with humans, and only the humans which work with AI are going to get more opportunities in the field. So I have these are some of the things that that show the gray areas of AI, and it's really important for us to understand. So at some level, if you see this first tweet, how artificial intelligence can discover medical findings that are beyond sight. So AI can discover a certain kinds of cancer, a certain kinds of findings, a certain kind of diagnosis that human beings as surgeons or practitioners cannot. That is life saving. So AI is also helping us in living longer, living healthier. But then there's a great friend of mine, Joe Shipman, who pointed out something very interesting, and this is related to finance. He said on May 31st, I'm getting the hang of this fixed odds racetrack betting. The last 2 days, I made over $300 without ever making a bet of more than $5. I can react faster than the algorithm and can get the long shots near their top, and payouts often vary by a factor of 1.5 or sometimes greater than 2. The AI is basically based on historical data, and AI is based on patterns. So if you can detect an anomaly faster than AI, then you're still in your job, you're still needed in the market. And the people making big money because automation cannot do certain things and human beings can. Now, this is, where little joke around it on the next slide, that first we start optimizing things and structuring and controlling, and we say everything is the same burger whichever outlet you go, same quality of cloth whichever outlet you go. And then the problem is, now how do we make it diverse? And diversity, which can also be called imperfection, and that's where human artist, human creativity, human intuition kicks in and does better than AI. So, with what AI can do better and what humans can do better, and we know AI is powerful. We see those transformer like robots in real life these days, some places, not everywhere, but we see that. And we see driverless cars, and we don't know who is responsible when things go wrong there. And there's the ethics involved, but more than ethics, there's another thing involved, and which is an existential crisis. So this is actually a typo when someone wrote exist instead of exit, but it looks no more like a joke, because if we don't, just like nuclear technology, if we don't handle it well, we can kill ourselves, and it will be a collective suicide. So these are the times when not only there are exciting things happening in the field, but also we need to be very aware and responsible of what's happening. We cannot afford to be careless with the technology that we have. It's very powerful. Now to so I don't know how many of you know of Sophia, but Sophia is a robot. It's a robot that is connected to um, all the servers with all the knowledge of computer science, and it acts like it calls itself a humanoid. It has citizenship of Saudi Arab. So where is it going? How far will it go? Or what will it take over human race, or what will happen? Those are big questions. And those questions, and at least we need to keep those questions in our heads, even if we don't have the answers. Now, I'll just take a digression from this and point out something. Um, when COVID took place, no AI to start with could find a solution, and no AI could really tell you how to handle it. So although we see a lot of control of technology on pattern matching and known data, but new things come in life, and humans still handle it better than a trained robot. And this is a futureoflife.org writing, and it talks about what is an existential risk and definition and chances. So it says an existential risk is any risk that has a potential to eliminate all of humanity, or at the very least kill large swaths of global population leaving the survivors without sufficient means to rebuild society to current standard of living. And it's not only AI, it says it can be a nuclear war, it can be biotechnology, it can be a pandemic like COVID, it can be artificial intelligence, and it can be climate change. So when I start getting concerned about AI's threat to humanity, there's so many others on the list that I know if not this, then that, and hopefully nothing. Hopefully we push through all of this responsibly, and that's the dream. So very recently, Google on 14th June, not a few days back, Google started to say that we have made AI sentient. Now, you need to understand one thing about these claims. There are certain groups or echo chambers which make such claims, and then there are other that say no, they deflate the bubble. So there was a big argument with some people saying that we have made the AI sentient like human beings. But then if you follow this on the Google or Twitter, there are people who are also saying no, this is not the case. It's a very smart pattern matching, but it's not sentient. It looks like sentient. And we have to keep speculating and keep reading and keep understanding which direction AI is going still be relevant. This is the same one, but very recently something very interesting happened, and it was interesting not only as an AI practitioner, but it was also interesting for me as a CEO of a company who does digital profiling of how credible the accounts are, how credible the information is. So we all know recently Elon Musk said that he was interested in taking over Twitter and buying some shares of it, and it was a $44 billion deal. But then a few weeks later, he posted on Twitter that, you know what, there's so many accounts that are fake, and that I don't want to, or I want clear data on how many accounts and data on Twitter are fake. And then the deal was rolled back on, I think that was a deadlock. I don't know of any other deadlock. So even people who are the trendsetters in AI, whether a platform like Twitter or a technologist entrepreneur like Elon Musk, they're still tackling with the issues of AI, and not everything is known to everyone. We all are still trying to figure out AI. And then there was another influencer, Vivek Wadhwa Sahab, and he said that, you know what, maybe AI as explained by these influencers is a painting, and it's an unrealistic painting. So we still need to find it out. Uh, and is AI that bad? And is AI the only evil in the world? So this is a very cute picture of, of a tree falling on a solar vehicle run by eco-friendly electric vehicle and not run on the fuel. So two good things creating a lot of damage in the picture you can see. So no, it's not AI. I mean, AI wasn't there when we had big wars in the past. AI wasn't there when we had big calamities, and we had faced existential risks, and the humanity has been swiped out for the most part from the planet earlier. There was no AI then. So if not this, then that, why worry too much? And again, for your career, for your AI merging with your accountancy career, my recommendation is don't be all in for any option, not at any option at all, and try to be diverse, try to get the best of both worlds. And that's a middle point where anyone in a profession related to technology and AI should find a comfortable place to exist. um, and as explained by the creator of Node.js, Ryan Dahl, you can never understand everything, but you should push yourself to understand the system. So that's all I had to say. What AI is, what are the good things, what are the bad things, and what are the other bad things that we need to be concerned about. So I'll just stop here, and I see 18 participants. So if there are questions, I'd like to answer those, and I'd like to interact with the participants here.
Yeah, so if there is any question by any participant, we would like to answer your question and queries, please. So if there is any, just do let us know. You can write in the chat window, or you can open your mic, please.
very speechless. So, any ideas about what I mean? I'd like to know how you are using AI, or what confuses you about AI.
Okay, so if there is anything that you want to discuss, or if you think that there is anything that you think that is confusing about AI or something like this, you are most welcome to ask, please. All right, so it is quite, it is a pretty quiet day. Okay, so all right, uh, okay. So Farah, if there is, let me check if there is any question. Do you think AI will take over human jobs? There is a question that, do you think that AI will take over a human job?
It's a difficult answer, but an honest answer is it will take over the current jobs and bring more jobs in the market. So if you know the craft of AI and technology, you will get a lot of other jobs, but these jobs will deplete, and there'll be other jobs emerging out of it. Yes.
Thank you very much. So, okay. So any other question by any participant, please? If there is anything that you want to discuss or any question or the query, just do let us know, please.
So SN Nasir made a very important comment. We're still trying to digest the information about the AI. I figured that out. The silence made me realize that. An eye opener as humans are getting replaced by the AI tech. Uh, Replaced? Humans cannot be replaced. See, we can dream, we can create out of nothing, we have an intuition, we have our unmanifested self we call soul or spirit. So technology doesn't have that. Technology is just competing us at a logical level, at a quantifiable level. But there's so many qualities of human beings that we can't even explain to each other. When a memory just sparks, or just thinking about a friend and the phone rings, all those things we still have as our own speciality, and AI hasn't touched that, I can tell you. Yeah, the practical world that we live in, yes, AI is doing a lot of things. So one of the people I follow says that, I follow him spiritually, says that, isn't it good? You guys always wanted a break, and now AI is automating everything. You're getting a break and you don't want it. So yeah, lots of things will be automated, and we'll not be seeing waiters, or maybe janitors, or maybe people as much around as they are today, because they'll be probably working in the back end, and the front end will be automated. Will AI change? Yes, AI will change accounting work. So that's a good question and very pertinent, because AI, how will it change accounting work? I'm mentoring a startup which is automating all the handwritten receipts, and then it does the balancing automatically. So it is using computer vision to recognize handwritten characters of debit and balance sheets, etc., and then the rest of it is done like you do it in Excel sheet. So lots of things are being automated. When there'll be a better ecosystem in the finance world for automation, this automation will be very fast. And another thing that the finance people should realize it, that for you, if cryptocurrency picks up as a digital currency, then for you to understand its impact on your career is more important than anyone else, because you'll be on the side of creating that value and not using it. So these are the two things where I see that finance and accounts will be affected by AI very, very quickly. So there's really good questions coming in. Is artificial intelligence beneficial for environment preservation? See, this is the nuisance part. Solar panels automatic. The systems that are running solar panels are usually automatic, and if there's a maintenance required or there's a damage, then AI picks it up or predicts it in earlier, and after predicting it, it just gives a heads up for maintenance. Solar energy itself is a reflection of technology and research. that is a good part, but then the amount of chemicals that go into making those panels are affecting the climate. So, well, I just pull up this again. I mean, this is it. It's not this or that. It's a middle ground.
Another question. So the repetitive, just let me check. Yeah. So the repetitive jobs may be replaced by AI, and we may have to redesign our role, especially as accountants.
Karthik, that is it. You got it. Everything that is based on a pattern that is repetitive will be eventually automated, and and then you will get a level playing field for redefining your role. You can be a domain expert. You can be that guy, let me again pull up that smart guy who understands where AI can't do it and does it for himself and earns $300 in a few days. So everything is automated, and then automation still has its cracks, and that is where your role will be redefined.
All right. So, Farah, what do you think, as well as the accounting and finance professionals are concerned? So, what are the skills, as well as the artificial intelligence is concerned, they should focus on?
So this is okay. So I think it's a very very pertinent question, and I can tell you, one is SN Nasir is saying it himself: fraud detection, risk analysis, when you're giving a loan. But you know what? If you're really excited, so AI now this is getting real. Now AI requires a lot of effort, a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment to get comfortable and make it your second anything work. So you want to acquire a new technology, you need to put in a lot of work. So what you do is you spread yourself thin in the beginning and see everything. See, are you good at risk analysis? Are you good at data cleaning? Are you good at writing code? Are you good at tweaking code? Right? So just explore everything breadth-wise, and then just pick up that you can do and without getting tired. Because this is one field where you cannot work 9 to 5. You need to be all in, right? And then pick it up and be a specialist in it. So even if you can specialize in cleaning the empty data, cleaning the incorrect data in finance and accounting, that is a career, right? People need those kinds of people who can simply clean the data, which you might say, oh, it's not even AI. But that data goes into AI. So if garbage goes into AI, garbage is coming out. So you can make, if that excites you, or you can learn classification about basic 10 to 12 trees of classification decision making, or you can be an expert in all the varieties of linear regression. And the trick of the trade is that if you are good at documenting what you're doing, then it's a cherry on top, and a really fun cherry. People really want people, technical people, to understand their craft technically and communicate with the people who don't understand it. So if that answers the question, then I have Essence question on my screen. It's
Yes,
pretty
go
much,
ahead. Yeah.
can AI be used in fraud detection if no such historical data is available? Well, you have to do it to say it. It might work in some domain where we have a domain expert who can give us the knowledge of model, uh, but that differs from case to case. And this is the starting point of you doing AI. You have a question, and then what you do is you practice things, you compare results, and then you say, I got my answer. You guys are actually started to psychologically step in the world of AI now, the kind of questions I'm getting. Yeah, please, Karthik. Why one more? This one more question: could you please explain the difference between AI, machine learning, and deep learning? Are they same? So I had maybe as I'm speaking, the definitions are changing. When I started AI, it was just AI with 20 algorithms, but with the whole world doing research and everything, there's so many PhDs coming out. This confusion will stay. These boundaries will be fluid. But to address your question, let's say AI is an umbrella term, and machine learning and deep learning are the subsets, and they overlap. So machine learning is when we automate our models so that they run on their own and does all the, takes in the data, cleans it, runs the classification, clustering, probability, whatever, and gives the result out. Deep learning is when we say just match the pattern, just understand how to match the pattern. We're giving you the input, we're giving you the output, and we're asking you to learn how to bring this output with this input. That's deep learning. I'm saying it very, what I'm saying is very naive and simple. The deep learning is a very big field. The last two demonstrations I showed you were both deep, the writing, the automatic writing, and the pattern matching, both deep learning. So there, machine learning and deep learning comes under AI.
All right. So any other question or query by any participant, please?
Any comment? I mean, if there's no question, I'd like to.
Yeah, here it is.
Momin, again, you should take whatever I'm saying with a pinch of salt, because A, I'm recollecting, B, maybe my knowledge is not updated. But I'll point out two convolutional neural networks. Deep learning algorithm that are used for graphical embedding is, the most popular type is convolutional neural networks. So, and sometimes it's really funny when I'm saying something and my students say that was ages ago. You know what? Theoretically, yes, but practically there's so much more out there. So if you want to start exploring, go to CNN's convolutional neural network. And if you find something more exciting than that, just come back and let me know as well. Okay, so I think I did not address some questions on the chat. I'll just read those. Prashant Kumar says, is the cost of using AI related software is currently high? What will be the marketing situation after 10 years? Prashant, you know what? No. The cost of using AI is very easy. I am teaching a student who does not have a computer. What he does is he has an account in the cloud. He's doing all his AI from his mobile phone. So the interface for typing is mobile phone, and the processing is done on the cloud. And this is why AI is getting so easy to acquire, because the cost is reducing day by day. More than this, and yes, there'll be paid softwares and there'll be expensive setups, but to start AI, you can do it for free. If you know the tool, if you know the technology and the tool, and your logic is strong, so you can acquire AI. I don't remember spending on AI as a teacher. I only spend on AI when it's my business, because you need a little more stability. So no, market situation after 10 years, I think AI will become more and more normal. Now it is still a specialty, but we'll see AI everywhere. We'll probably not even call it AI. We'll call it something more simpler. So yes, things will get more and more. Everything that we are doing now, it will have more AI involved in the next 10 years, I see. How can AI, so now I'm Muhammad Umar Imtiaz, how AI can help the finance or business for SMEs, small and medium enterprises? A lot of ways. I mean, just think about it. If you have an automatic chatbot that is helping your client, helping your, you have an online business, and there is a chatbot that is making sure that the person does not drop off. So he's bargaining, he's giving a discount, that the chatbot, I mean, it is giving a discount, and it's just, behaving like a human salesperson. Then, AI I know in accounts, the people who are automating the whole finance process and using computer vision for that. So there are a lot of ways. I should actually, so if I can connect with Umar, I can probably list some ways that AI is being used and share it in my own startup. I should show you if I may show the demonstration of my startup. This is core AI, nothing but AI. So you can see in my own startup, which is based on AI, this is a Chrome extension, right? What it does is it if you log in, it tells you how much of your professional profile on LinkedIn is complete and what kind of things you talk about. So it's not about you, but if you're hiring someone and you know where he studied from and all those things. But if this woman, she talks a lot and I don't want a talkative woman, or she's very emotional and I don't want to hire at a C level an emotional woman. So those are just little things that LinkedIn will not pop out for you, but AI will. So if you look at this demonstration, we're going to positive sentiments, factual, what kind of words are being talked about. So you can see that my startup validate, there's all this insight analysis from LinkedIn profiles. And we're going to move to other platforms too. But so this is what AI is doing currently. When you're talking to your friend about something and the next day there's a Google ad popping out, that is AI. So that was the answer regarding SMEs. Now, Aisha Irfan asks, and I'm glad that Aisha, a female, is also interested in asking. Thanks, Aisha. Is learning and exploring accounting software help us as accountant in AI? I can't say because I am not an account specialist. I don't know. But if you're really lost where to learn AI from, I'd say just make your basics of stats and probability very good. So if you understand mathematically, if you understand stats and probability, if you understand um, linear algebra, so that is the foundation of AI. Now, whether a software or not, if your logic is strong, you'll find very easy to acquire technology to complement your skills. And that there's enough training out there to get that easily.
All right, so I believe there is no question in the question and answer, and there is no question in the chat window as well. So thank you very much, Farah, for your valuable time, and it was very insightful presentation and discussion as well. And I'm pretty much sure that the participant has enjoyed it. So thank you very much again for your time, and I believe there is one more question. A big thank you to Farah, a professional, and okay, thank you very much.
Thanks,
All
Freddie.
right.
Thanks, Karthik. And thanks, Karthik. My
All right.
pleasure. I also enjoyed. It was really fun to talk to all of you.
All right. So thank you very much. I believe let's conclude this session, and pleasure to have you in this session today. And I believe it was early time on this Friday, and this is the reason that we got some low attendance. Somehow we were having approximately 150 participants for this training, but this is a learning for us as well that this too early time is not good for such session. I must say. This is just a learning for us as well. So thank you very much everyone for your time, for joining us today. So thank you for again. All right, bye bye.
Thank you, everyone. Andre, if I'm pronouncing your name right, Wajid, Esan, and everyone.